Hello, everybody. You're listening to an episode of Thorne in Your Side. And I'm your host, C. Thorne. This is the place where I'll be talking about information and opinions, both popular and unpopular, related to random topics. And you might as well listen since it needs to be said. Also, you already pressed the play button. So relax, grab a healthy snack, and prepare to be both entertained and informed. So, let's begin. Now, if you're like me, you like free stuff. One example of free stuff is mobile games, which are games that can be played on your phones, your tablets, and other small devices. Although some mobile games do cost money, there are several free options to choose from. Yes, free options. I play a few mobile games, and one mobile game in particular that I play is Pokemon Masters EX. Yes, Pokemon Masters EX. No, it's not Pokemon Masters X, because if you say that name a little too fast, it'll sound like something different. Nintendo should really get that game title renamed because, yeah, seriously, they really need to get it renamed. Anyway, the game is developed by Nintendo and Dina. If you're a Pokemon fan, you should definitely check it out. The gameplay is fun, the visuals are nice, and the music is, the music is super good. Catchy, nostalgic. I enjoy it. And it's probably the main reason why I still play the game. Seriously, it is. Overall, Pokemon Masters EX is a fun game. But there's been some recent decisions that rub me the wrong way. I don't approve of these decisions at all. And it's almost ruining the gameplay experience for me. And I don't like that. Now, to all the Pokemon Masters fans and players out there, as well as Dina and Nintendo, I don't mean to be a thorn in your side, but that game needs to stop being racist. That's right. You heard me. Stop being racist. Now, I say this because there were some past events in this game that treated certain people of color in very unfortunate, unfair ways. The event in question occurred summer 2022, which was just last year. Now, just in case you don't play Pokemon Masters EX or pay attention to the Pokemon franchise at all, I'll use very general terms. That way you won't get confused by the terminology. Anyway, there were two important people that starred in this event quest. One of those two people is a guy named Matt. He's one of the two administrators of a villainous organization named Team Aqua. The other important person is his counterpart, a woman named Courtney. She's one of the two administrators of a villainous organization named Team Magma. Team Magma and Team Aqua. These two groups don't like each other because they have competing ideals and values. Of course, they're rivals. You gotta have those, right? Now, in the event quest, both Matt and Courtney had the same exact role, the same exact purpose, and the same exact amount of screen time. Give or take a few milliseconds. They're both considered the crazy admin of their respective team. They're counterparts, so that's not much of a surprise. The main issue here is that towards the end of the event quest, Courtney became playable, but not Matt. Huh? What the? What? Huh? That's weird. If two people do the exact same things, then shouldn't they both be rewarded? In this case, shouldn't they both be playable since they have the same important role and purpose? What could possibly make the developers think it is okay to make Courtney playable and not Matt. Oh, I'm sorry. Golly gee. Silly me. I forgot to tell y'all about their physical differences. Courtney is a petite white girl, and Matt is a big black guy. Yeah. So I guess after finding out this information, then you all know what's happening here, right? Exactly.
Oh, come on now. That's not racism. That's sexism. That kind of thing always happens at gacha games.
Well, you're half right about that. By the way, everyone, gacha games are basically games that center around gambling and probability to obtain content. It's like a gumball machine turned into a full-fledged game. You want the blue gumball, but you keep getting other colors. After several attempts, you finally get the blue gumball that's worth 25 cents after spending at least $4 in quarters. Yeah, it's that kind of feeling. Also, it's true that sexism is expected in gacha games because apparently most developers think the majority of people who play these games are a bunch of weirdos gambling for their Dorima waifu or Dorima harem, which is pretty disturbing since most of the characters in the games look teenage or younger. But I digress, because that's nasty. But because of this creepy reason, female characters usually bring in more revenue, which is why most developers focus on them so much. This bias against males is very obvious when an online game releases several female characters in a row while neglecting male characters or even screwing them over, which happens quite often. Keep in mind that game companies are a business, so if that's what it takes to make money, then they will do it. Well, the thing here is that Courtney is a white-skinned female, and Matt, her counterpart, is a dark-skinned male. So we can all agree that this is both sexism and racism because it just fits. Courtney became playable and not Matt. That's it, right? Well, unfortunately, it does get worse. It gets worse if you zoom out a bit. Just zoom out. Just zoom out just a tad bit. Just zoom out. If you zoom out, you realize and notice that there was actually 7 people, 7 Pokemon trainers who were notable in this event quest. 7. Lucky number 7, right? Well, not this time. We all know that 2 of them is Matt and Courtney, but the other 5, there's May, Steven, Brendan, not Brandon. For months I thought his name was Brandon, but it's Brendan, okay? So that's May, Steven, Brendan, Looker, who's from a different region. Once again, Looker's from a different region. One more time, Looker is from a different region. And we have Xenia. That's 7 people. Now, out of these 7 people, 6 of them benefited from the event by being playable. May, Brendan, and Steven received the new form, and that form became playable. Looker and Courtney, remember Courtney is Matt's counterpart, Looker and Courtney made their playable debut. Xenia, who was a freebie from a previous event, received a 6-star upgrade. So all 6 of those people received something from this event except for Matt. Isn't that weird? Once again, Matt and Courtney had the most important roles in the event. Okay, they're counterparts. But instead, out of the 7 people, Matt was the only one who didn't become playable. And the thing is, the other 6 people who became playable, they're white-skinned. Yeah, they're white-skinned. So out of the 7 people who had notable roles in this event, the 6 white-skinned people became playable, and the one dark-skinned guy did not, even though he had the most important role along with his counterpart, Courtney. Now, what did Courtney do to become playable? Because if Courtney and Matt are counterparts who did the exact same thing, the exact same role, and the exact same screen time in that event quest, what is different about her from Matt? Well, like I said before, physical differences. Courtney is a white-skinned female, and Matt's a big black guy. 6 of the people who became playable and benefited from this event are white-skinned, while the one black guy is not playable. How the heck do you explain that? Can you really explain that without saying racism? You can't. You can say favoritism, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing. So what's up with that? Did the developers not notice that? Did they not realize that they were making everybody playable except for the dark-skinned guy? Because Matt and Courtney are counterparts. They was pretty much the stars of the event. They were featured in advertising for the event. They had the most important roles for the event. So why is that only one was playable? That's not fair. Both of them should have been playable. The more I think about it, the worse it looks, you know? Because people don't want to say it's racism because they want to be nice, but I don't care. It's racism. No matter how much you want to sugarcoat it, no matter how much you want to candy coat it, no matter how much you want to deep fry it, it is racism. Because you have this cool black guy who had a very important role along with his counterpart, but he doesn't become playable with her. That is just not fair at all. Oh, and remember Looker? Yeah, from the other region. He was the least important character in the event quest. Out of the 7 characters, he was the least important one. He had the least important role, the least amount of screen time. He was just, honestly, was just there. But yet he gets playability over Matt. That's crazy. This essentially means that the least important white-skinned person became playable over the most important black person in this event quest. That's crazy. That's bonkers. It's ridiculous. Or as the weird people say, cray cray. Yeah, cray cray. Because saying the first syllable of a 2-syllable word twice instead of the whole word is just so cool. If you ask me, it's kind of stew. It's stew, right? But no, really, it's very stupid. I really wish people would stop saying that. Please stop saying cray cray. It's dumb. But I digress.
Hey man, stop making everything about race and just enjoy the game.
Well, first of all, I'm not making everything about race. It already is about race. Because race is why Matt is not playable, okay? Since he looks so different from the rest of the characters who had noble roles in that event quest, that is why he wasn't playable. It doesn't matter if he's popular or not. He was featured in the event quest. That means he was important enough. And that's the problem. But hey, this reminds me of another time that something like this happened. Picture it. The previous year, either fall or summer 2021, 3 characters make their playable debut. The trio that owns the island, basically. You have Lear, Sawyer, and Rachel. Lear is basically the owner of the island that everyone's inhabiting, while Rachel and Sawyer are his bodyguards or retainers. They're all featured in a summoning focus. But, huh? Whoa, hold up. Apparently, just by logging into the game, you can get Sawyer for free. Huh? Since when does a new character given out as a freebie? That almost never happens. The only time that probably happens is if a game has a collaboration. And for y'all who don't know, a collaboration is basically when 2 or more franchises, get together for a crossover event or whatever. Usually the collab might give you a free character because the collab may not come back again. So, hey, this is your last chance to get a character, okay? It's also a very predatory period, but I won't talk about that. The point is, usually if a new character is a freebie from a collab, it might be some character that's the least popular in the franchise or some mascot that's Most likely an annoying animal or something. Either way, it's probably a character nobody wants or cares about. But it's a freebie, so why not? But why was Sawyer a freebie? Why wasn't Rachel a freebie? Why weren't they both freebies? They were both Lear's bodyguards, but only Sawyer was the freebie. Why was this person a freebie? Oh, I'm so... There I go again. Oh, golly gee, will occurs. Oh, man, I forgot to talk about the physical differences again. Well, Rachel is a petite white girl, and Sawyer is a big black guy. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? Where did I hear that before? But yeah, now why was he a freebie? Both Rachel and Sawyer were 4-star dark type support characters. So the fact that Sawyer was a freebie, it makes you wonder, what does that mean? Something tells me that it's the developer's way of saying, hey, this person isn't worth the trouble. Just take him. We know you won't focus on him because he looks so different, so just take him. That's how I interpret it. You know why? See, I'm older now, so I catch stuff. You know how you used to watch some movies or TV shows when you were young and you thought it was a very innocent show, but you watched it again as you was older. It's like, holy, whoa, mama! This movie is, it's so much darker than I thought it was. You're able to catch all the adult stuff, all the adult jokes, all the innuendo, all the scary stuff. You thought it was just a funny movie about this and that, but it's actually much worse, because you understand what's going on. There's a reason why they say you should never watch Disney movies when you're older, because it's a completely different meaning. Completely different meaning. And it's the truth. It's the truth. There's a bunch of shows now and shows the past who had a bunch of adult content that kids just didn't notice at all. But us older people, whoa, they got away with that? It's a kid's show, right? Ooh, man, they got away with that? Whew, man. Like I said, I catch stuff now. When I play video games or whatever, I catch this kind of stuff, okay? So when they made Sawyer a freebie, it's almost like they just said they just want to give them to us just so we can, have them. Like as if we weren't going to even try to get them from the summoning focus. And that's not good. But hey, unlike Matt, at least Sawyer is playable. Unlike Matt, at least Sawyer is playable. And he's a good character too. I still use him. Now, as I said earlier, I like getting free stuff. Free stuff is cool. It's just that when they gave us Sawyer, who was a new character, for free, that's strangely generous of them. I wonder why. But the thing is, he was a login reward, which means it took 0 effort to get him. In most cases, when there's free characters, you have to do an event quest or do an event dungeon or do something. But with him, you just had to log in and whoop, there he is. And it definitely made me wonder, why? So the treatment that Sawyer and Matt have gotten, it just isn't fair. Because those two are probably the most different looking characters in the franchise. They're both big black guys. Bodybuilders probably. They look the part. And I'm thinking, okay, why you gotta do this to them? Come on, Nintendo. Come on, Disney. You can't let this happen. The Pokemon franchise has done a great job in recent years adding more diversity and color in their games, okay? Because at the beginning of the franchise, when the franchise first started, there wasn't a drop of color. No color whatsoever. But in recent games, in recent years, oh wow, there's a good amount of skin tones. There's a good amount of body shapes. That's a lot of good progress. Good job, Pokemon. Good job, Nintendo. You're doing a great job. Because once again, it's the global popular franchise. So let's see some more global physical traits. But the way Matt and Sawyer's been treated, it's crazy. It's crazy. Especially Matt, because at least Sawyer's playable. At least Sawyer's playable, but not Matt. Matt still ain't playable. It's been over half a year and he still ain't playable yet. Treating him like this is a step backwards for the franchise. Because it's racism. That's all it is. As I said earlier, out of 7 people, Matt was the only person who didn't benefit from the event quest, while the other 6 people, who all just happen to be white-skinned, benefit from it. They're playable. You can play as them right now, but not Matt. Can't play as Matt. This is highlighting a bigger issue of this kind of bias in video games. This kind of bias in the media. We have this kind of bias in games that kids are playing so it can desensitize them to actual issues. And we all know how impressionable kids are nowadays. Simply put, the only way to make things right and resolve this horrible issue is to make Matt playable very soon. If not, right now. That's it. Make him playable. Because he had an important role in that event quest in which Courtney became playable. And that's his counterpart. So regardless of how much you love him, like him, dislike him, or hate him, he got screwed over. And I truly mean completely screwed over. Crazy. Okay? Simply crazy. Like, we cannot let this keep happening like this. It's been over half a year and he still isn't playable. What's taking so long? It does, like I said, it does not matter how popular he is or how unpopular he is. He was in that event quest. He did something really important. He should have been playable with Courtney. But no. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And I honestly hate the fact that this is happening because I love the Pokemon franchise, but I hate when things like this happen, you know? I hate when there's a clear bias against a character and it shows. Now, I honestly hope that somebody from Dina or Nintendo can just come across this video or be told about this video or something, because they must know that what they did was bad and wrong, and just probably don't think it was that bad, but trust me, it's bad, okay? You're screwed over a man of color who had an important role in an event quest. And it does not matter if he's the member of a villainous organization, because so was Courtney. Like I said, they're counterparts, okay? They're counterparts. If one becomes playable, isn't it weird for the other one not to be playable? Exactly. It's completely ludicrous. And I don't mean the rapper. Not the rapper, the adjective.
Dude, I bet it's just a coincidence. If you don't like it, then just play another game. Gosh.
Like I said a couple of minutes ago, I don't mean to be a thorn in your side. But what happened to Matt was just completely unfair. That's just facts. But let's put it more into the real world. Okay? Let's say you have 7 people who work on a project at a job. You do a presentation, perfect score. Afterwards, 6 out of the 7 people get a raise. How's that fair? All 7 of them did the exact same thing. The exact same role, the exact same presentation time, but one of them doesn't get a raise, but the others do? Oh, no. Nah. And that's how it feels with Matt. Because Matt had an important role. One of the most important roles in that event quest. But he didn't become playable. Because clearly the developers or someone is biased against him. Whether it's the developers, the player base, I don't know. The point is, there's clear bias against this person, and that's not fair. He has bias against him because he's a colored guy. And it's Very obvious. Now, if you still don't think it's a big deal, then think about this. What if it was vice versa? Matt's playable and not Courtney. That player base will be so vocal about it. In fact, they probably post some vicious things about Matt online, including some very unfortunate pictures. I would not be surprised one bit. My final point is that if you honestly believe that the whole situation with Mac isn't a big deal, then that's not good. That's not good. Because regardless of the media, whether it's a video game, cartoon, movie, comic book, Broadway, you should never be okay with discrimination. And Matt is clearly being discriminated against because he's a black guy. As I said earlier, he's the only person out of 7 who did not become playable. And he just happens to be the only person of color who was noble in that event. That's not good. So please do not be okay with this kind of stuff. Because otherwise, you'll get desensitized by it. Once you get desensitized to discrimination, you'll be okay with it happening in the real world. And it just won't affect you. It'll just be the norm. And that is certainly not good. Especially when this kind of stuff is happening in kids' media, kids' shows, kid games. If kids get desensitized to this kind of stuff, then they'll just grow up being completely stoic and emotionless towards it. They'll expect that kind of stuff. And that's not good in the slightest. That wouldn't be good at all. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Thorne in Your Side. And now I'm your host, C. Thorne. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, describe, care, react, love, follow, tweet, all that good stuff. There'll be another awesome, amazing, tasty episode next week. And remember, be smart and stay sharp.